So, my internet came back, and because my internet came back, my computer decided to immediately change over to the internet, which then meant my stream decided to reboot again. Although, it's back at least. Hopefully. But, fuck me. Why do you do this to me? Alright, okay, so it should be stable now. Hopefully. But back to this! Again, they just moved their knight from here to here. And I don't see any discernible reason for this. They can only move to one of these two squares here. This one is a bit more of an aggressive position, but again, both my pawns could take it, and I would use... Oh, so this one would obviously make a passed pawn, but my king is sort of protecting this entire area here. And I could just move a rook up here just to protect that area. This one would stop protecting this. So obviously, I think their goal here is to try and lure a pawn away. Alternatively, they could go here, which would then give them control of all these squares and would be the far better move, I think. Once again, they're putting a lot of pressure on this square for some reason. I don't quite understand why. But yes, so now that I've got all of this on the run, now that I've got all this, I really was thinking they were going to do this. But now I've currently got two defenders on this, with two attackers on this, and they have one defender. Now, one defender is protected by a rook, but would it be worth trading two rooks for a queen? Not quite, I don't think. It'd be 9 material for... It'd be 9 material for 10, so... If I were just to take that and put a lot of pressure on that queen... Wait, no, if I were to put pressure on that queen and that queen doesn't... No, the point is, actually, what will happen is if I take this, that queen will either push up... One of three things will happen. Either that queen will push up, in which case, and take my rook, then I'll be at a disadvantage, but then I'll take the queen, in which case I'll have a queen and a knight for a rook. Alternatively, the queen could... Actually, there's 4 things that could happen, because alternatively the queen could ignore it entirely and try and do something else with their fucking knight over there, in which case I could just take the queen and then the rook takes me, which will then be a queen, again, a queen and then a knight for a rook. Alternatively, they could push this rook in the way of the queen, but if they did that, then I could simply, again, take it with the rook, and if the queen took that, then I would take it with my knight. Now, the reason why I wouldn't take it with the knight first is because I want to put pressure on the queen itself. So I'd have to give up a rook again, but it would be even more worth it at that point. Because again, if I take this queen, I'll actually also put the king in check. So if I were to... So actually, they completely ignore it. I take that, and then the rook takes this, and I can take that rook with this rook and put it into check, and then they would have to move that forward, which I could take that, and then they would have to move this knight forward here. Which means I would actually get a lot for doing that if they just completely ignored it. Alternatively, they could move the queen, which is a totally viable option. If they move the queen, then I get my goal, which is now I own the d-file and it's mine. Honestly, pushing that now is a good idea, from what I can see, because moving this forward doesn't help anyone, because the only one with a bishop now is me. I'm the only one with a bishop. So yeah, I think I'm going to push that forward and hope I didn't miss anything. Yep, they moved the queen. Okay, moving the queen is what I expected, and they are now putting pressure onto this boy here. So, they're probably gonna... they are not going to take that horse. They are not going to take that rook. Okay, listen, I see what they're doing. They're not going to take that horse, because obviously the pawn would take them. What they are waiting for is for my horse to move to wherever, and waiting for my rook to move to wherever, and then they have a immediate revealed check. That's the goal. So, I think realistically, that's a pretty decent move, but what I should probably do is push a pawn up here in 2 moves to put pressure on it to make it leave. The obvious counter strategy to this is if I push a pawn up to here, like that, they will push this pawn down to stop that from happening, but then I can take with this pawn and still apply pressure. The only downside, again though, is that they could just take it. So what do we do? Well, what I have is an idea. If I move my knight to here, I will obviously open up my rook to the queen, but that rook is protected by my rook. And I already planned for that rook to die anyway, so I'm completely fine with that. But then this knight protects this square. So what I can then do is I can push this pawn up, and no matter what happens, whether they push this pawn up or whether I push this pawn up again, no matter which one happens, I put pressure on that queen and I make it move, because that's a dangerous position for it to be in. So yeah, so I'm going to move that knight to here. And hope, again, that I've not missed something. Because they've still not moved that rook on a8. It's still basically unusable. Honestly, I expected them to move that rook to here. Because then they would have to go for this rook. Because this rook is currently pinned. If they had moved it to there, then they would have had a free shot on my rook, basically. Then they would actually be able to take both my rooks by using just one rook. They could have basically moved their rook to here and then taken this rook. I take that rook. And, oh, no, because my knight is protecting it. Ah, I see. Definitely intentional. But yeah, so... also, there is actually a downside to them moving their pawn here now. Because if they move their pawn there, I can push my bishop up to here. But of course, I need the queen to move for that. But if they do that, then now I have a direct line of sight to their rook, which is now hanging. So... let's try it, shall we? So, pushing a pawn up, let's see how they react. Okay, that's certainly an idea, I suppose. So, the thing is, if I push my pawn up here now, it won't matter. I'm not aiming for this pawn, I'm aiming for the queen. If I push my pawn up here, either that queen will take the pawn, in which case I take it, that queen will retreat, in which case I can start pushing up, or well, actually, there's not a whole lot else I can do. That queen, I guess, I could go for the desperado and go straight for my rook, but they could easily just retreat to a safe spot. Yeah, so I'm going to push that up. Moving the rook there, I don't think was a great idea. If I was going for that pawn, then yes, it was a great idea, but I was going for the queen. And that is exactly the move I thought they were going to make. This knight is currently protected by this pawn chain, so it's okay. So now what we need to do is these rooks are going to be a big issue. I need to aim for them. What I could do is try and go for an aggressive attack, which will be very risky. So... actually, what I could do... what I could do is I've got a risky move here I could do. It'd be a weird trade to make. So if I made an attack straight onto this king here, one of two things will happen. Either the king will retreat or just move to this square. One of them two. Because the king can't take it because the horse is looking at it. But the queen could... actually, no, this wouldn't be a good idea. Because the queen could take it. Because that's the only piece that can take it. In which case my horse could take it. But then the rook would take the horse. These rooks are the biggest issue on my mind at the minute. And I want to get rid of them. What I could do is I could push up with... no, otherwise I could push up with my bishop to here and put pressure on it, but that's not going to work. I need to pull it back and push it over here first, because otherwise that pawn's going to take it. In a 2-move, I could put pressure on that rook and get it to move. But I want to take it. I don't want to move. That queen is the thing protecting it, and both the rooks are backing up the queen. So, what do we do, fellas? What I could try and do is push my rook up to here, which threatens the queen and also threatens this pawn. And it's also backed up by both the rook and the horse. And currently there's only 2 defenders on that flank. It would be an immediate attack, which means I could then go for both this queen and this rook with my rook and my knight, which means theoretically I would win. Because they have nothing else that they can go for with it. It would be a really, really risky trade. But it would knock out of the game a queen and a rook. On top of that as well, though, I could also do the safe bet of taking 2 turns to move my bishop round to here, and then have an extra attacker. But I think that's a bad call, purely because if I could do it now, they could foresee it and move, and then things will change. So if I go for this now, queen takes it, and then I go for the... do I go for another rook take, or do I go for the knight take? I think I should go for the knight take, because... if they because then they have no incentive to take the knight, and I'll be up 4 material, which will put me in the lead. If they do take the knight, then I'll take the rook, and I'll then be up 6 material, I think, because then I would have just traded a knight for a rook, which means I'll be up a lot more material. So yeah, so in fact pushing up with my rook and then taking with the knight is actually a good move. Even though the knight can't do anything, they won't take it because then they're going to lose their rooks otherwise. But that rook will have to move, because otherwise I'll take it. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, so if I take with the rook and then they take with the queen and then I take with the knight, that rook is completely safe. But I thought, for some reason, thought I had a rook there. If I push it with my other rook, then they would have to react. But I don't think that's a wise move. I think going for this wins me the most material. And then on top of that as well, if I do, it does get to the point where I now have my d-file rook here. Not only will I now control the entire 7th rank, I'll also be putting pressure onto this fucker over here, which the bishop is also looking at, which means I can absolutely push the king back here and put him into a really, really shitty situation. And I have another horse on standby over here, which I can pull forward to try and get to this rook here. So, pushing this rook forward seems like the best move. Fingers crossed. Come again? Okay, actually, I've got a better idea. So the idea was obviously to bait the queen to take me. But what might be better is if I move my rook over to here and put the king immediately in check, which means the king will either have to move left or right. Moving left is a bad idea because it puts it in an open. Moving right means it will waste a turn, or it could take it with the queen. The only downside is if it takes it with the queen, I can only take it with the bishop and the knight. But either way, I still have 3 defenders on it. So I can move it to here, go with an aggressive position, and still have 3 attackers straight on the king. So them actually ignoring that might not have been the best idea. Because I could obviously take this, but then they will just take my rook. Whether it be with that, or whether it be with that. And I have no way of taking it. But in fact, going for this is an aggressive play that pushes it back into the corner. Or pushes it into the open. One of the two, because that is an annoying position for it to be in. Because currently it's protected by the knight. Which, well, but yeah, so if I push it that way, it pushes it either out of cover or into the corner. And either way is good, and then I still have 3 defenders, and I then get to save my rook. There we go, that's what we expected. Do I push my bishop forward now, or do I push my knight forward? This is the question. If I push my bishop forward, I essentially lock the king in place unless this rook takes it. So the bishop would be a really ballsy play, which means that I then control both these spaces, which means if I could get rid of this rook without moving this knight, we should probably be using this knight, I could get a checkmate really quickly. So I'm going to go for a bishop take, I think, because if I go with the horse take, I'll control these squares here, which isn't useful. But a bishop take is better. That was expected. And so now I will do a horse take. And trading a bishop for a queen and a rook, this works out in my favor. I think it does anyway. Yeah, I've got the advantage now. Fuck yeah, I'm up material. I can't believe this whack-ass fucking strategy worked. But yeah, I'm up a pawn now. That's good. I also have a passed pawn here. If I can get this king out of the way, that's good. I also have another passed pawn here, but this guy is in the way. Both these guys, even though they're technically... These guys are technically passed pawns, but they're keeping an eye on each other. And currently my rook controls the d-file, and most likely this rook's going to move over here and control the e-file. So what I really want to do is push my rook over to here to not only protect my own king, but also to control this e-file, which means that this rook then can't box my king in. So I'm going to move my rook to here, because my horse is also... What are you doing? What is he doing? He's going to try and go for my king. So I don't want to move this knight. I might be able to move it here and then keep pressure and then attack this pawn and force it to move, because that's their only passed pawn. So But on top of that as well, it helps move me closer to the rook, which I need to get rid of. And it also puts a little. It also implies I'm going to put pressure on the horse with with just being able to keep an eye on things. Ah, hey AJ, thanks for welcoming me back. The internet decided to be nice to me, so I'm going to push up here. I think to put pressure on this pawn. Obviously, if I take the pawn with the knight, the rook will fucking take me. But that's not the idea. The idea is to pressure the pawn to move forward. Actually, no, that might not be a good idea, because that might not be enough pressure. So what would be a better thing to aim for? Because I currently have two pawns that are passed. One of them is this pawn, and one of them is this pawn. If I could keep pushing this up, then try creating pressure somewhere else. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what places I can apply pressure to. Ideally, I want to try and apply pressure to that rook, because that's really annoying me, but I think the horse might be a better place to apply pressure, but I have nowhere I can reliably... Do I have a way I can reliably do that? No, not really. What I could theoretically do is if I could get my horse to look after this square, which I can do by moving it here. A6, this one here. Yeah, A6 could definitely rise to something good if I move my horse here and here. I could absolutely take that and then create a passed pawn, which would allow me to get a queen. That's a good tactic. It's a very good shout. Which means this guy will be able to push forward, and this rook would then end up getting pressure upon it. That was actually a very solid strategy, because the other one that I was going to have was pushing my knight here and pushing my rook forward to try and... So I could try and do that later on, I suppose, but there wouldn't really be an easy way of doing that. But that knight is not my main concern. That rook is my main concern. So I agree, AJ. That's probably the best tactic, going for A6. And I can still control E6. Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah, completely ignoring completely not moving my rook means I can still control the E file as well as being able to control E6, which is a very important one to control. So yeah, I will take that tactic there. I'll start aiming for this one. Okay, they're retreating their knight, but that's actually a fantastic thing for me, because now they've just taken it, they've retreated it. Hello, Moose Jess. Hello. So now they've retreated that. Going for that pawn was my main goal, which means I can now create a passed pawn. And I wanted that knight to stop being aggressive anyway. After knight c5, you can still control e6. Oh, I see your point! Moose, yeah, you can play me after this game, Moose. That's fine with me. So yeah, I see what you mean now. I still control e6. Yes, I do still control e6. However, I don't need to anymore. The whole point of controlling e6 was to try and pressure the knight away, but the knight's already moved. So actually, I think that going straight for this pawn is a better idea. Okay, the rook is already going to protect the king, which is interesting. Now, I'm probably going to move the knight back to here, I think? No, actually, yeah, I'll move it back to here so I control the center, but then I can move my knight over to here and start targeting that rook. But no, moving it back to there means that I will be putting it right in the line of sight, so moving it there is a better idea, because then I can still move it to there and put pressure on the rook. Yeah, look, remember to go for hanging pieces. Loose piece drop off. Okay, so look for hanging pieces then. So the hanging piece here is you. Not now, earlier. Oh, okay, that was... Oh, I see what you mean. When they had the knight here, I should have gone for it. I see your point. I see your point. I see now. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna move my knight to here though, just to keep it safe. But I see what you mean, AJ. Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. So the rook. Oh, you were saying for a6. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I was going for that anyway, so that works. So yeah, so the rook is now looking at my boy here. So what I could do is move this to here to protect this pawn, because obviously this pawn's going to push forward. But what I don't want to do is for it to take this pawn and then move back and try and take the pawn at a later date. So having it I can win this game with one move? What, by pushing my rook here? Because this protects it? Wait. Juicy move is there. Wait, hold on. I can move my rook to here, which obviously put it in line of sight of this rook, but it will also be protected by this. Do you mean to move it? I don't think you mean to move it here. So these two are the only ones that are protected by my knight. Move it win in one move? Where? I'm trying to see this. What I can see... Move basically means a line. A line which you can progress by definitely winning by force. Oh, do you mean just pushing the pawn up? Or do you mean I can... Because currently this guy is protecting the promotion square. Oh, wait, if I move my rook over to here, it'll obviously protect this until it get... A6, boom, 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 yeah, okay. So, pushing up to here, it'll be protected. If they do take this, then they'll have to move back up to come for me when I'm here. Because it's my turn, so I move this here, they take this, I move here, then they'll have to come up, and then I can promote. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. Alright, they're pushing that forward, that's not going to do them much good. So now I'm going to threaten the rook. Rook immediately just booked it, no surprise. And so now I will push again. Queen. Yep, they had to do that. There was no way they were getting it. There's no way they were going to be able to do that otherwise. Okay, so now I have a rook. And they only have I have a rook. Actually, I have a very significant advantage here. So, I want to get rid of this boy. He's being very annoying. And now it's winning, you're correct. I'm going to deal with this guy so I can just push him to the end. So I'm going to move my rook here and just take him. Yeah, move my rook to C. Yeah, I agree. Moving my rook to C. That's not a wise move. So I will take that pawn now. If he stays there, I can... Yeah, he's staying there. I can just box him in with my rook. Okay, that's not exactly a wise decision. Because obviously he's going to try and take my pawn when it goes here. But if I take the pawn... Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. How did you win the rook? How did I win the rook? Oh, I won the rook because my knight was protecting the promotion square. So when the rook ran over to here and then I promoted, I simply... They took the queen and I just took the rook. That was the idea anyway. But yeah, so I'm actually going to push the pawn up and try and... No, by pushing the pawn, right? No, because I pushed the pawn up because the rook then... As soon as I pushed it up, the rook got threatened and then ran. The point was that I wanted to get rid of the rook. So... And I've got another passed pawn here. And if... Christ, hit the free pawn. Push B pawn again. Yeah, I agree. Moose, I understand taking the free pawn, but that's not what I want to do. I want to try and push the... I want to try and get a queen. If they take the pawn, which they probably will. No, okay. Interesting. I think they're protecting the promotion square, I see. Okay. So I'm going to push this forward here and pin it to their king there. Or they're going to do that. Alright. That's fucking annoying. Okay, the king can't take that because the pawn's protecting it. You won because she pushed a6, a7, a8 and wins the rook eventually. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, the knight is currently protecting this square. That's why the other knight didn't go for it. Crazy tactic there. Yeah, it was a Go with your... Oh, that's a good point! Yeah, I have a king! Fuck! I nearly forgot about my king. Good point, Moose. I nearly forgot about that. Okay, so now they're just... Okay, yeah. So, I can push the pawn forward again. The knight is protecting my rook. The king can't take it. Okay, now it's retreated again. So, I could absolutely take this with my rook, take that, and then I get a queen. And a queen is worth more than a rook. But... You could have taken the knight, GG, game over. What do you mean I could have... You could have taken... When it was here? I couldn't take the knight when it was here. Wait, when... Take it... Yeah, take it now. Okay, sure. I can take it now. I obviously aren't protected, but I can take it and then get the queen. Oh, it didn't even take it! Okay, sure. I'll just take a queen then. Okay, that was to be expected. Now I'll push it back. Because now I've got a queen, I've got a much more powerful move, and I can absolutely just push it into a corner now. Okay. But, yeah, I'm just going to keep pushing it back now. I'm just going to wait until the... I don't want to cause a stalemate, though, so I'm going to try and get into a position where I can get a knight onto this square here, which means I can need to push it to here. There you go. So now I need to just keep pushing it in. And checkmate. There we are. Got it. We got it, everyone. We did it. We fucking did it. Alright. I'm going to just take a quick break. I'm going to go grab some food and I'll be right back. And if you want, Moose, I can still have that game with you. If you want. So yeah, so I will be back in just a minute then. Yeah, I know it's another break, AJ, I'm sorry. Yes, I do have very long hair. Indeed I do. Thank you. Yes, I do have very long hair. Yes, so, I shall be back in just a moment, peoples. There we are. Alrighty. Alright. There we are. Hello, I'm back. I still have a little bit of food here. I might just peck at it, but it's nothing big. But yeah, is is Moose still in the chat? Because if so, I'm still happy to play the game with you if you would like. Alrighty. Alright then, feel free to make it and then send the link in chat and I'll join through it, or I can make it, it's up to you. I don't really mind either way. Ah. There it is. I see it. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Okay then, I'll try not to talk too much. Just like with the last person who challenged me, I'm going to not be talking a whole lot, just because otherwise... Well, I mean, there's obvious reasons why I'm not... Oh yeah, also good luck to you as well, Moose. Apologies about not saying anything. But yeah, so... Interesting tactic. Bowing out a bishop that early in the game is risky. Although also me not moving anything to defend that is also risky. Alright. Let's see here. Where could you go from here? You could go... I can't fucking click. Why can't I click? I can't do anything. Ah! Anyway, whatever. There's a couple places that they could go to. But... is there anywhere that I want to go? There's a couple places I want to go. One of them involves going... I guess I could do this. What did you just take? Oh, did you take a pawn or a horse? I thought you took my pawn. Okay. Right. Okay. So... You're a very aggressive player, you are. A very aggressive player. Alrighty. I see you, I see you. I somehow didn't see that you were going to take my queen. I don't know how I didn't see that. That was really fucking stupid of me. Pushing that pawn forward, no surprise there. Come on. Oh, you sneaky you. Okay. I'm not paying attention. Yeah, that horse is just absolutely wiping its ass with me right now. Oh yeah, pawn, right. Yeah, no surprise there. That was gonna happen. I really was just not paying attention. Yeah, good game for sure. Yeah, okay, I'll go another round. I'm probably gonna lose again, but even still. Just not looking for what I need to look for. You about to do what I think you're about to do? No, you're not, okay. You are an incredibly aggressive player. That is a bit of a dangerous play right there, that is. Hmm. Hmm. There we are. That's good. Still got pressure on my bishop, but... What the fuck? Why did a second move over there? What the fuck? Not going to make it that easy. Alright then. Yeah. I for some reason didn't think about moving my queen. That was a mistake. Yeah. I wasn't going to win that one. There was no way. GG indeed. GG indeed. But yeah, I think that'll probably be enough for this stream. I think. But yes, so let's pop us back to here. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. There we go. Now we're on the right one. And you still need to get a fade transition for that. But yes, so thank you all for watching and for engaging as well. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I don't really care if I have a low amount of viewers if I still get to engage with them, which I did with you guys, and it's quite a lot of fun. I liked it. Farewell to you, Moose. Good game, and I will get to a point where I can beat you. It will happen. Just not now. But yes, goodbye to everyone, and I hope you all had about as much fun as I did, which is a moderate amount of fun. Take care, everyone.